Hello, friends of Movilidadprofe. Today we have an international presentation with a person that come from Japan. Is our friend Sarika Okami. Sarika Okami is an engineer from Yokohama National University. She worked with me in Colombia and with the supervision of Mihoko Matsuyuki, professor in Yokohama National University, and Professor Fumihiko Nakamura. They were interested in the Metrocables or cable cars in Medellin, and we investigated about the effect of Metrocable. Then we have with me Sarika. Hello, Sarika. Good
Hi.
morning in Colombia and good evening in Japan.
Good evening.
You can follow with the presentation, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarika Okami. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. First, I'd like to introduce myself. Now I live in Tokyo, Japan. I'm working for Yachio Engineering Corporation, a civil engineering company which provides consultant services for foreign countries. I was an exchange student from Yokohama National University to the Universidad Nacional de Colombia. I stayed in Medellin from August to December in 2016. And, and Professor Ivan supervised my master research. Okay, so let me start my presentation. Impact of aerial cable car in low-income area in Medellin, Colombia. Firstly, as an introduction, there is some international trends about the mobility and social situation. The relationship between mobility and social exclusion has been an important issue within transport engineering and policy. Above all, cable car system is now receiving attention. Cable cars can be introduced in the mountainous regions where the social disparities are reflected in the topographical features of the regions. This tendency is remarkable in South American countries. Here, in this slide, I show you some pictures of cable cars introduced in Rio de Janeiro, La Paz, and Caracas. Metrocable in Medellin, as you know very much about it, connects the North Hillside area to the main train system. The first Metrocable system, K-Line, was constructed in 2004 and considered to be a role model for other projects in South American countries. Why this project received worldwide attention? In which aspect did the project interest me? The answer is that Metrocable especially influenced the mobility of people in a low-income neighborhood. There are several papers concerning the various effects of Metrocable. In 2013, the professor et al. Analyzed users' travel patterns along the Metrocable K line and J line. They found that safety is highly important for their transport mode selection. Heinrichs and Bernard, 2014, examined the effect of Metrocable on residents' accessibility in two districts, Popular and Santa Cruz. By analyzing origin-destination surveys for Medellin from 2005 and 2011, and interviewed 13 female residents. They revealed that a reduced travel time, increased reliability, and reduced cost are the main advantages compared to the bus alternative. Coupe et 2013 analyzed the Medellin Quality of Life Survey and pointed out that incomes of heads of household in 2009 were above the minimum level in 4 districts along the Metrocable lines. In summary of the literature review, most of the researchers are based on the government statistics, observation, and interviews. So there is no research that reviewed Metrocable's social impact in microscope level. In this study, we tried to examine both the social and spatial scope of impact in the neighborhood area, I mean microscope level, based on the resident survey. This study has two main objectives. First objective is to identify the type and magnitude of the impact of the Metrocable project on neighborhoods with low-income residents in Medellin. Second objective is to identify the spatial and socio-economic scope of the impacted residents. These are based on the supposition that the effect of the project may be limited somehow. We analyzed in the aspect of improvement of mobility and also community. Improvement of mobility means, for example, cheaper travel cost, less travel time, vocational change, or higher income. Improvement of community means crime reduction, more local identity, or more pride in the area where they live. The case study area is shown in this slide. Maybe I better skip the basic explanation about the city because you're much more familiar with it. We targeted at Comuna 1. The map is on the right. Comuna 1 includes two Metrocable stations on the K line, Popular Station and Santo Domingo Station. Santo Domingo Station is the terminal station of the K line. Then let me explain the outline of the questionnaire surveys we conducted. We did the first survey in October 2016 to May 2017. We targeted the residents who had continuously lived in the same place in Comuna 1 and worked continuously before and after 2004. We defined the highest earning member of each household as head of a household, and they were interviewed. We got 368 samples. The contents of the first survey were questions about socioeconomic conditions, workplace, commuting mode, and also about the pride in their neighborhood. We asked about both situations before and after Metrocable for the purpose of comparing the situations and analyzing Metrocable's impact. Since we found that not many samples used Metrocable, we targeted at the users of Metrocable in the second survey in September 2017. In the second survey, we asked about the detail of commuting trip, reason for using Metrocable, and also how they do when Metrocable is out of service. For example, during its maintenance period. To conduct these surveys, we hired some NGO staffs. In the first survey, we identified the amount of participants by calculating the proportion of the population in each yard. Then NGO staffs visited each house randomly and asked according to the questionnaire sheet. In the second survey, NGO staffs interviewed passengers waiting in the ticket office in the terminal station of the Metrocable K line. We chose weekday mornings as survey time because we wanted to know about commuting trip. There are various impacts expected as a consequence of introduction of Metrocable. In this presentation, I'd like to focus on how Metrocable improved the residents' mobility and how Metrocable affected the local social development. From the next slide, I will explain the result of the surveys. Now, let me start to explain about the results. Concerning the improvement of mobility, about 20% of respondents use Metrocable to go to work. When we exclude the people who work at their home and focus on the group that commutes, 22.6% use Metrocable. 0.6% use only Metrocable. 18.6% combined with the train. 3.4% combined with other modes. 22.5% use bus. 7.3% take the train or BRT or integrated bus or combination of these modes. 80.3% ride motorcycle. 14.3% are passengers in cars. 4% are drivers of cars. 1% use taxi, and 10% only walk. This result indicates that Metrocable is mainly used as a feeder mode of train. However, limited range of residents are using Metrocable. From the second survey, we asked them why they choose Metrocable to go to work. This graph shows the result of 5-grade evaluation: totally disagree, disagree, neither, agree, and totally agree. We can see that much amount of respondents totally agree with the reason the trip time is short and it is cheap. This means that the benefit of Metrocable when they use for commute are lower cost and shorter travel time. Especially, nobody disagreed with the reason it is cheap. The second survey also revealed some interesting things. This circle graph shows which modes they use during Metrocable's maintenance period. We made it clear that majority of the Metrocable users use bus as an alternative way when they can't use Metrocable. Then we conducted t-test on average commuting time, and it revealed that using Metrocable takes more time comparing when they use the alternative mode. It was a surprising result for us, but we can assume that actually the cost affects more than time to choose the mode. This table shows commuting modes in 2003 and 2013 for respondents who have same workplace. In 2003, car travel as a passenger was dominant, where the fraction of car passengers decreased drastically from 48.7% in 2003 to 21% in 2013. However, the majority of which was assumed to be informal public transportation, so this data is difficult to analyze. The second dominant mode in 2003 was bus, where the proportion of bus users decreased from 37% to 26%. On the other hand, the ratio of train users increased from 7.6% to 22.67%, which was attributed to the easier access to the train station offered by Metrocable. In addition, the ratio of motorcycle users increased over the study decade from 6.7% to 16.8%. The ratio of car drivers also increased. This graph shows the workplace destination of the respondents. We can see that many of them work at Comuna 1, 10, and 14. Then we classified the respondents into four groups who work at Comuna 10, Comuna 14, Comunas except 10 or 14, and outside the city to compare each uses of Metrocable. We excluded respondents who work at Comuna 1 for this analysis because they generally work at their house or on the street nearby. We found that Metrocable is useful for the people who trip long distance. On the other hand, we can see that people who work at Comuna 10 relatively not tend to use Metrocable. We can assume that this result is due to the inadequate security there, and people tend to choose bus or car to arrive directly at their workplace. We can say that there is a tendency to avoid walking from the train station in Comuna 10. Then in this graph, yellow part shows Metrocable usage of each income group. No respondent in the lowest and highest income group use Metrocable. 40% of the highest income group work at home or within walkable distance, and many of them likely have their own business. In the lowest income group, most of them are supposed to be informal workers who work at home or within walkable distance. The second graph shows the relation between educational background and Metrocable usage. People with no education tend to work at home or within walking distance. As a result, the percentage of Metrocable use is relatively low. Next, we conducted binary logistical analysis to make clear which are the variables that affect Metrocable usage. The significant variables at 1% are low stratum, live near to Metrocable station, don't work at Comuna 10, and physical worker. The significant variables at 5% are women, work at Comuna with train station, office worker, and service staff. This result shows that Metrocable is used by socially vulnerable groups such as women, low economic class, and unskilled workers. However, still, we should take notice that the lowest income educational or educational background groups do rarely use Metrocable, according to the result shown in the previous slide. Then we conducted t-test to know whether there is a difference of income increase between two groups who changed the job or who didn't change the job. The differences of income increase and also income increase rate were significant. That is, the respondents who changed the job after the introduction of Metrocable are relatively receiving the benefit. The next table shows the result of binary logistical analysis to review which variables affect the vocational change. We can see that not only the income level, but also the distance from Metrocable station have relations. In summary, spontaneous vocational change has led to income increase, and good access to the Metrocable station also promoted their vocational change. So we can conclude that Metrocable has indirectly increased monthly income. From this slide, I'd like to move on to the next topic, how Metrocable influenced the community. First, we try to review whether they are feeling safer in 2016 than in 2003. We divided respondents into two groups who live near, 100 meters or less from the station of Metrocable, and who live far, more than 100 meters from the station. According to the t-test, there is no significant difference of crime reduction between these two groups. Also, according to the result of one-way analysis of variance, the longer the distance from the Metrocable station, the higher the average of crime reduction and crime reduction ratio. In short, Metrocable did not contribute to crime reduction. Second, we tried to review whether Metrocable has influenced the pride of their neighborhood or not. We asked in the questionnaire, are you proud of your neighborhood you live? And let them do 5-grade evaluation. This graph shows that Metrocable users tend to be very proud of their neighborhood. Also, we did t-test based on the calculation of the average of pride score. This result indicates that there is a significant difference of their sense of pride between users and non-users. So, we can assume that the frequent use of Metrocable tends to enhance people's pride in their neighborhood. So let me summarize the results of our survey in this slide. 21% of respondents use Metrocable for commuting, and their main benefits of choosing it are saving money. Residents who are female, low socio-economic class, live near a Metrocable station, and work in safe Comunas with a train station tend to use Metrocable. The installment of Metrocable has led to vocational job change, and this vocational job change has led to higher income increase. However, Metrocable has no influence on crime reduction. Usage of Metrocable increases passengers' sense of pride in their neighborhood. In conclusion, Metrocable has impact on improvement of mobility, sense of pride, and also indirect impact on increase of income. The impact covers socially vulnerable groups, but we should take notice that the impact doesn't cover lowest income and lowest educational background groups. So specific measures should be taken to target the most vulnerable groups. For example, vocational training and discounted cable car and train tickets. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sarika, for your presentation. let me know if you learn to speak Spanish when you live in Colombia.
Yes.
Entonces, danos un saludo de despedida en español.
Entonces, muchísimas gracias por su atención y esta oportunidad. Em,
Bueno, muy bien, muchas gracias. Yo no puedo decir lo mismo en japonés porque no, solo te puedo decir arigato gozaima.
Muy
Muchas
bien.
gracias. Thank you very
Sí.
much. And I hope to see you again as soon as possible when I travel again to Japan.
Yes, welcome. Bienvenido.